Today we're here to talk all things travel insurance. Obviously, it's a huge area of interest for our audience because so many of you are traveling in your retirement. We've got Lysander, who is our call centre manager for Travel at 60, and Lysander obviously deals with travel insurance and clients' travel insurance claims, all day long.
Yes.
Yes.
Never a dull moment with travel insurance, Wendy.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to talk about some of the myths in regards to travel insurance. And one of the really big ones that I know that I've dealt with over the years is that Medicare covers you for everything that could happen when you're on holiday. So I don't need travel insurance. So maybe you could kick off and address your thoughts on Medicare and travel insurance.
Yeah, so Medicare within Australia. So we're going to discuss Medicare whether you're being on a ship, so being out at sea or on the ocean, and then Medicare on land. So in Australia, Medicare when you're on a ship, it's really, really easy. You're not covered. Okay, the reason why is because the ship doctors aren't necessarily registered within Australia. So that's why Medicare doesn't cover you when you're on a ship. When you're on land, so say you're doing a land tour around Australia, you're going to Tasmania, etc., then if you do get injured, yes, you are covered with Medicare. Okay, and it's a really good thing because if you're doing like a river
and just
cruise,
to be clear, you're covered. If you go to a hospital or a doctor in Launceston or Hobart, you're not necessarily covered if you have to be medevaced by helicopter off the top of Cradle Mountain.
Well, yes, no. Okay, so if on land, anywhere you are in Australia, so say you are on top of Cradle Mountain or you're out at Longreach, wherever the case may be, and the flying doctors or another service has to come in and collect you, then yes, you are covered by Medicare. Okay, if you're on a ship and you're off the Kimberley coast
and you have to be medevaced,
not covered.
Not covered.
So, and that could cost you like $90,000 just to get taken off that ship and then taken back to Darwin. Or wherever the closest hospital is. So yeah, it's really, really worth knowing the facts about what you are covered for Medicare and what you're not covered.
And I think the other really important thing is health is only one element and only one reason why you get travel insurance. There are a lot of other reasons why you get travel insurance.
Yeah,
and that doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in Australia or wherever. So do you want to talk to the difference between, because that's the other thing that we get a lot, right, is people say, I don't need it because I'm traveling in Australia, I'll use Medicare. And then you're like, hang on a minute, what if? So maybe you could talk about some of those what ifs.
So with domestic travel, and you really need to check your policies out as well. So that means reading the fine print. So some domestic insurances will cover you, say, from 300 kilometres from your home address. So what that means is every time you go outside of 300 kilometre radius, you're covered. So you might be covered for if you lose your laptop, you lose your phone, which everyone does. Depending on your policy, it will be covered. So just say, for example, I was on Norfolk Island a couple of weeks ago and our flight was delayed, which meant we had to stay on Norfolk for an extra night, which was a really, really hard thing to do. But anyway, so what happened is all the clients that were then flying into Brisbane had booked an extra night accommodation before they flew out the next day. So that meant that they lost their accommodation because most of them booked so instant purchase, so it wasn't covered by the airlines, and the hotels wouldn't change it either for them. And then say for example, you can only fly out of Qantas on Norfolk, and they were getting another carrier to go to their final destination. The airlines don't have to cover any other carrier other than their own. And a lot of people have the misconception that, if say Qantas has cancelled my flight and they're putting me on another flight, they're going to cover me the whole way. Then no, they're not, unless you're booked with them the whole way. So that's something to keep in mind on.
If you have travel insurance, you can claim against
100%.
that.
So what the clients did as well, they've put in travel claims for lost nights accommodation, lost airfares, and any
extra
other
costs
thing
while they're on the island as well.
Exactly. Anything that's not covered either by the airlines or anything you have to pay out of your pocket, then you submit it all into your travel insurance.
Yep. Fabulous. One of the other things that we get asked a lot about, and get given, when we say, would you like travel insurance, is quite often people are paying by credit card in order to use their credit card's insurance policy. So what are your thoughts on credit card insurance policies?
Yep. This is a question we get asked
every day.
Every single day we get asked for our opinion. The answer to that one is check your provider of your credit card. So if you've got it with the Westpac Bank, NIB, like if you've got whoever your credit card is with, you need to go back to them and ask them what it covers and what it doesn't cover, because they're the only ones that can advise on, they're the expert of their own insurance. So they're the only ones that can advise it.
And really that comes down to the fine print,
100%.
right?
Yeah. It's always, and I know myself, and like, how many of us have always gone tick, 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 yep, I've read it all, haven't read one single thing. Something happens and you go, oh my Lord, I didn't know that if I had too many drinks when I was on holidays and I fell over and broke my leg, that I wasn't going to be covered because they've got it on footage that I was a little bit
have a
under
look
the
at
weather.
your social media and they see you with a beer in your hand.
Exactly. And like, they don't, and there's guidelines on, responsible drinking and all that sort of stuff that's in your policies as well, that it is really important that you do
check
read
the fine print.
100%.
Always good advice anyway. Now, the other part of fine print sometimes is around pre-existing medical. So obviously with our audience, most of our audience are over 50, over 55. And as we all know, we all get allocated some sort of ailment once we get to this age. So what are your thoughts around pre-existing medical and any advice in regards to travel insurance for our audience?
Yeah, so one thing, be honest. Always be honest, because the time that you're not going to be honest is the time that you're going to require it, and then you're going to end up with a very, very expensive medical bill at the end of it. So not all fully comprehensive travel insurance will say, okay, say for example you've got arthritis in your finger and that's a medical condition. Not every medical condition you're going to be penalised for. And people use the word, oh, I'm being penalised because of this. Well, when it comes to your health, yes, you are, because it is something that's going to cost more money if you have to go to the doctors. What I was trying to say is not everything that can be wrong with you is deemed
pre-existing.
As pre-existing.
Yep.
Okay, so once again, what will happen is you'll get a quote, and then it's up to you. You can go through, it's probably more important for you to go through all the information on your own, in your own space, so no one's telling you what's on the pre-existing medical form, because sometimes the words are really big and we might miss
although we do that as well at Travel at 60. You hear all sorts of weird things going on as we go through the list of things.
But once again, that's your choice. If you want us to run through 60 things that could be wrong with you, then we're happy to do it. And believe me, it's quite extensive, all the questions that are in there. But if you want to do it at home in your own time, just we'll send you the documentation as well. So when we send the travel insurance over, we will send a PDF with all the terms and conditions, all the fine prints and everything.
And so whoever you're working with, you should get that information off them.
100%. And if you don't get it, ask for it.
Okay, now the other thing is there's always a lot of chatter online around who's making claims and whether they're being paid out. We work with a number of providers, but one of the ones we work with is Covermore. Now they claimed, they provided or approved, I should say, 85% of claims last year, and all of the different travel insurance providers are monitored. They can provide you with that information. So what are your tips in regards to people putting in a claim on their travel insurance? What are your sort of top tips?
Top tip would be to have all your receipts with you. If you can't provide the receipt, don't claim it, because they're going to ask you for it and ask you until you give it. So the easiest thing, if you want the claim quick, my suggestions would be to have all your paperwork, submit it once you get back into Australia. Okay. And then just be like, if they ask you a question, they're asking you a question for a reason and not to be difficult. They just need to get to the bottom of that, because there is so many false claims put in for travel insurance, and all I can say is just tell the truth, and give them very clear and precise. You don't have to go into a big, story of what's happened. Just be precise and direct with what you say. 100%.
Now, we did talk briefly about cruise. About 60% of our business is cruise. We know a lot of our audience loves to cruise. is every type of travel insurance policy automatically covering for cruise?
Yeah, no, good question, Wendy. No, it's not. So you can get policies that are cruise only for ocean and for sea. Remembering it's always ocean and sea is your cruising policies. River cruising can go onto your land portion as well. So no, that is a different policy as well. And yeah, so always talk to whoever you decide to go with. Talk to them direct because they're the professionals as well. Don't listen to what's on Facebook.
No.
That's the biggest misconception. People say, oh, but such and such got this. And you know, there's always like, you know, that fishing story. I went fishing and the fish was this big when really it was like, you know, could have been denied or something like that. But no, cruising does have its own policies.
Now, we have talked a lot today about being on tour and things going wrong, you know, when you're on a cruise or touring. Of course, travel insurance plays a role well up into the lead up to you going on any sort of holiday. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so my you know, and this is always just my suggestion to people, to cover people, is once you buy, it should be, you book your holiday, you book your travel insurance. If it's inside a 12-month period, because say, for example, if, goodness, God forbid, something happens to you and you can't cruise or you can't travel, if you've got travel insurance, you'll be able to make a claim on that. Depending on how you did it, obviously.
And as well, I think particularly with a lot of, we know that with a lot of the cruise companies, you know, to get the best price, you book early, you grab your early bird rates. People are booking a long way out, and there's a lot of things that unfortunately can go wrong with ill health. Or, you know, even unfortunately what we get is a lot of people's travel partners get ill health or are unable to travel or things like that as well. And, you know, it can really impact. So it's about making sure that you cover yourself, you know, especially once you know those cancellation policies will start to kick in. Make sure you've got live travel insurance. Of course, Lysanda and her team at Travel at 60 can help you with travel insurance quotes. There's no obligation at all to go ahead with any quote that we give you. So by all means, we would recommend get in touch with Lysanda and her team and get a quote and make sure that you're covered for your next holiday.
Yes, and just like I guess the only other thing I can say to you is travel insurance is your choice. No one can tell you that you have to have it. No one can say that you don't have to have it. It's 100% your choice. And yeah, but even though we strongly recommend it, it is final decisions always up to yourself.
All right, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments or get in touch with the Travel at 60 call centre team. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.